Talk to me. Anybody got anything to start out with? What do you need?
What have you seen from Isaiah Lee throughout the summer?
Leadership, probably one of the best leaders I've been around. As far as the locker room, as far as the meeting room, as far as after practice, he's always there. So his football is getting better. His football IQ is way up. So he's doing a fantastic job in that aspect.
From a physical standpoint, it seems like he's always been strong, but how much has he filled in with knowing the game and also just adding the versatility you're going to need, especially with any moving on?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is that he's done an outstanding job with taking care of his body. So he knows his rep count is going to get higher. So he's given himself a chance to play longer, harder, longer in that aspect. And again, as far as his football IQ, man, he's one of the better guys I've been around. He's always in my office, always asking questions, want to learn, not just the D-line perspective, but from the linebacker perspective and the secondary, trying to get the full picture of the defense.
Is there anybody that can replicate what Any did in terms of playing inside and outside without, at that elite level?
Yeah, we got some young guys we're trying to do that with, and I think Tyler Odindum is doing a great job. He's the guy there that's going to be behind Isaiah at the zero technique. He played 5 technique in the spring. He's a redshirt freshman. We're hoping that he can grow into that role. But replacing Nenny is going to be by committee. MJ Anderson, who came to us from Minnesota, he's been working hard, and obviously we bumped J.R. Singleton out there to give us it's a big 300-pound guy out there with some decent twitch. We're just going to have to do it by committee, but we are not yet to have that versatile guy, but we do have some young guys that will be down the road that can give us that.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah.
What has impressed you about, JR's kind of growth and ability since the spring?
Number one, he's taking care of his body. He was in a limited role last year, obviously with the injury, kind of really, he had to take a step back from that and came back late, but had a really good spring. And I thought the best thing he did, man, he came out there and learned a position and really, we didn't lose a beat there, right? So we'd like to see what he's going to do in the pass rush world, in that deal, but I think he's worked really hard at becoming a true 5 technique defensive end.
Have you seen Blake Peterson come along?
Blake Peterson, man, great question. That's the guy nobody talks about, but I tell you what, he is one hard-working cat. He's going to give you attitude and effort. He's going to run. He's going to stop the run. He's going to be around the football. Man, I think that guy right there is a big key to our success. He can play the field and he can play the boundary. He's going to be a little bit like Zach Peterson there and hopefully give us some more pass rush there. But he's that flex guy, too, that can go from the field to the boundary.
What strides has Will taken?
Big strides has had some lean muscle, obviously, during the summer, what he's trying to do is improve his football IQ, which he has. That's the big strides there. And then, man, he's just now has stepped up in the leadership role, being that guy on the field to provide energy for the rest of these young guys. I think that's where he stepped up in this big
What kind of season are you expecting from him?
Well, just a Will McDonald season, man. We don't want anything else but Will McDonald doing his job and fitting his gap and rushing a passer like he's supposed to. Man, just being who he is enough.
Is that going to be tough for him because he'll be double teamed? I'm sure he was double teamed last year.
Sure, he was double teamed, chipped, sometimes triple teamed. Our offense provide a great example for him every practice and sending multiple bodies at him, tight ends, backs, chips, on all of those things. So he knows that, man, he's going to get the attention. I think the most important thing is who's opposite of him. That's how Hennig had a successful year last year, is that, man, all the attention's going out to number 9. We're going to need that guy backside. MJ Anderson has the ability to rush the passer. He's doing a great job there.
Another question on Blake. He's a guy that kind of had to bide his time a little bit.
He has.
How's he better now, maybe, than?
Well, I tell you what, he's probably in his 260 range. I think last year he was a little bit too heavy at 250, so he's leaned up. provided some quickness, worked on its flexibility, all the things. But I would say coming out of the summer, he was a winner out of the summer. And we've seen great things from him already this fall camp, just with the attitude and effort he provides. Like for him to be a little bit more vocal, that's not who he is, man. He's a lead by example type guy, but he's doing a great job in that aspect.
I know you've only had a handful of days out on the field with some of those young guys here so far during the fall, but what have you seen from them to this point?
Our guys that just got here in June, very athletic. Very athletic. Ike Exigua is number one, the kid from Kansas City. We picked up Tommy Hammond, who is also a very good athletic kid that's going to be like a Spencer Benton type kid. Really, Spencer for us was a really good football player. And then Dom Orange, the improvement in that and handling his weight also is another young guy that's coming along in a fast rate. And don't forget about Howard Brown. He's doing a great job there. So we got some depth there behind Isaiah. The big thing, game experience for all those redshirt freshman guys.
You've been able to keep Coach Gordon from stealing Howard and taking him to the quarterback room?
Yeah, I think Howard's far from that. I wouldn't put him out at a fullback on third down though. Man, that's a big 300-pound guy. That's athletic, so I wouldn't X him out of being a fullback on that in the goal line situations.
You mentioned on Dom Orange with the weight being, it looked like he even jumped up a little bit from what he first reported to. Was that by design or you still?
And weight?
Yeah.
No.
He's man,
he is taking care of himself. Dom would probably, we're not real sure what he was, but I would put in a high 380. When he's got here. We want him big. He's got himself down to 350 right now. We want him to hover around that 350, 340 range just so he can play harder, longer. But, man, we want that big. We have not had that kind of frame at that zero technique, but when he learns how to play hard and learns our system, and learn what we do great here, he's going to be just fine. He'll be a name or be really impressive around here.
How unique is it to have a guy that's that size that can move? Like what
Boy, I tell you what, that's what the SECs are playing with, those type bodies. And again, it's just if we can get him his stamina and horsepower to maintain, to give us 20 to 30 plays in a game, 15, 20 plays, that's enough. And then down the road, man, we hope that he can take some ownership in that position and be what we need.
Do you feel like you have the type of depth you've had in recent years where you can
We
do
do.
kind of the line change?
We do. We do have the depth. What we don't have is that game experience, and that's going to be, we're not going to know. We're hoping if we can get the game experience early, and then late when you really need the rotation, that those guys can provide a rotation and we can have longevity through the season.
You dealt with, or MJ Anderson dealt with some injuries last year at Minnesota, right? Is he, that well past him? And
Yeah,
what's he kind of showing?
first of all, the injuries there, he's 100%. He did have a long, nagging kind of injury to his elbow. We got that cleaned up this spring. So he didn't take the reps this spring, but this summer, studying all the film and working this summer, he's kind of picked up. Now, he's got some rust on him. But the big thing there is that guy can rush the passer. He can run the passer from a 5 technique, from a 3 technique. He's a little bit twitchier cat at 275, 280 in there. That's different. So we're hoping, again, we run through the football and those things, so the stamina in that thing has got to come, being that these are really his first 2 reps of being a Cyclone.
I remember a few years ago on Media Day, Jaquan was running over to you saying, hey, we're going to go to Coach Sheed's house. And I wonder what the last couple of years were like, though, where you guys couldn't come to Coach Sheed's house.
Yeah.
What's it like being back to that a little bit?
Well, it was awesome. This summer we did things a little bit different. Coach Myers and I wanted to get the O-line and D-line together and obviously we had a great cookout with those guys and had a lot of food serving that. But we want to keep those groups together, offensive line and defensive line. If those guys can come together, man, we'll have a chance to win some football games for sure.
Is that a new thing? Was it O-line, D-line separate?
This is year one.
How's it going?
Years one. Boy, I tell you what, I don't know. Iowa Outlaw Barbecue here just north side of Des Moines came in and catered it. Man, I don't know. There was a lot of plates and a lot of food being tossed around on that thing, so it's outstanding. But that's the thing we want to build here, that brotherhood amongst, we call it our bigs. That's our bigs there, so that's our brotherhood together. It's been fantastic. Trevor Downing, Isaiah Lee, bringing those groups together can help us around here for a long time.
You can take one more thing on half, I'll see you done. Good?
This is it.